G'day guys, welcome back to another update on our canal front renovation. So the pressure is on. The entire team has done so well on this project to get it to where it is. All of our own employees, our supervisor Todd, our trades, our suppliers. So grateful for the effort that everyone's putting in. It's actually not we've broken our own rule on this job. So for 5-6 years now, we actually don't allow anyone to move in prior to completing the entire job, completing all the contract works, getting fully paid and all those types of things. But we had to deal with this client right from when we first met them. I think they're coming up to about 2.5, might even be 3 years ago. When they first bought this home, we went right through the pack process, all the design process, and when COVID started, they'd already planned to have Christmas this year in this home with all their family from overseas. So right from the beginning, it was always going to be a challenging one because we said we'd push as hard as we could to get them in for Christmas. So we're on track to do it. The house itself is finished. We've got a lot of just final touches to do over the next sort of day and a half. And then we will be back after Christmas to finish the front yard works, a little bit of rendering and some painting of just really minor bits and pieces. So with the challenging year that we've had in the industry with delays and just how hectic it's been, I'm actually over the moon that we've managed to get it to this position. And again, it's because of our incredible team and our trades that has allowed that to happen. So for the next day and a half, we've got the Priscilla, our silicon lady, in here at the moment. She just does an incredible job. I love when the silicon goes into our projects. It's just that final touch, cleans everything up, just makes everything so seamless. We've got the cleaners coming back in tomorrow. We got 3 or 4 of our own team on site just doing final touches, door handles, adjusting things, testing things, and just basically helping out all the other trades to get their jobs finished. We got the Sparky back on site tomorrow to do a few final touches and wrap the job up. We got Gavin, the team, currently painting the outside and doing touch-ups inside. And I tell you what, they always do. Every single project we do, our painters do such an awesome job of all of our work. And again, take my hat off to them for the effort they put in. It's really, really appreciated. A few little hiccups on this job, just to give you a little bit of an idea of some of the things that we come across on large renovations or any renovation for that matter. We actually went about, I think it was might have been $9,000 or $11,000 over budget on our rendering on this project. And there's some costs that I'm wearing, and we went over because I made the call to do extra rendering. So being a large double brick home, we've touched every single wall in this house. We've extended it, we've joined the garage to the house, we've cut new window and door openings. And with rendering, it is super difficult to blend in and patch. So as the renderer is working away, our trades are fantastic at talking to me because they know the outcome I'm trying to achieve. And so in a lot of places, we made the decision, rather than just trying to do where a window was or where we joined a wall in, we rendered the entire wall it might be from an external corner to external corner, internal corner to internal corner, whatever. But we did a lot more rendering than what we actually set out to do based off the drawings. And on these types of renovations, it doesn't matter how many times I stare at the drawings, it doesn't matter how many times I visit the site and try and work things out. It's in those situations with rendering, there's just so many things that are unknown. If the plumber's got to run a pipe or put a hole through a wall, the electrician's got to put a hole through a wall or run some cable, we've got to put a window in, we've got to butt a door or a wall in, whatever it may be, it's just super hard to get the finish that we expect with the quality of jobs that we deliver. And sometimes you just got to make those calls to spend more money and render an entire wall, or it might be paint an entire wall so that we can get the quality that we expect. The other reason the rendering went over quite substantially on this job is as we got into this job, we realised that it's been renovated so many times. And most of the walls, it appears, have been rendered 3 times. And the layers of render were really, really thick. So when we price our rendering and we're allowed to do our rendering, we obviously only allowed to patch what's shown on the drawings, and we assume that it's just a standard thickness of render. So that could be anywhere from sort of 3, maybe up to 8 millimeters thick. as we got into this job, we started cutting the openings in, demolishing the existing brickwork and doing what we needed to do. We found that in a lot of areas, and it wasn't the entire house, but in a lot of areas, the existing rendering was up to 20 or 24 millimeters thick, which meant where we were trying to patch in and blend, the render had to do scratch coats to build that up to the same thickness before he could put his final coats on. So in a lot of areas, he was basically rendering them 3 or 4 times to build up the same thickness and get the good finish. So with that part of the rendering, we actually did that as a variation to the client because it was unknown. We didn't know that the render was going to be that thick. So we followed our contract. I gave the owner a call. The clients have been fantastic. I think so many builders come unstuck with things like this because they don't pick up the phone and have conversations with their clients. But for me, a big part of having a successful business is communication, and trying to communicate as much as possible during my weekly meetings, what's happening, why we're doing things. When things come up, pick up the phone, have a chat to the client, talk them through it, and then follow that up by sending the appropriate paperwork, getting it signed off, getting it agreed to, so that we make sure we get paid for that extra work. So look, overall, this job has been an incredible job. It's been a massive job. Like seriously, if you go back and watch your previous videos on the process of this build, the amount of demolition we did here, the amount of rubble and brickwork and concrete that we literally jackhammered and took out by hand, and then to rebuild, the amount of structural steel we put in this job. And now to get to the end, meet our deadline, get the clients in for Christmas, everyone doing a fantastic job. It's just come up awesome. So stay tuned. We will do a absolute final video on this next year once it's completely finished. But yeah, thanks for watching. And as usual, if you're thinking about building or renovating, you got any questions whatsoever, you like what we do, you want to know more about it, shoot us an email or a question on our social medias and we're more than happy to come back to you.